I used to spend hours making the perfect drum loop, finding that bass line and a catchy vocal, all to fail at the arrangement process. I could never figure out how to go from this 16-bar loop that was only 30 seconds long to a 6-minute track. It always felt overwhelming and soul-destroying when I got to this part of the process. Until I started doing this one technique, arrangement mapping. And not only has this helped me finish more music that got signed to my goal labels, but it also has helped for hundreds of producers that I've worked to on a one-to-one basis. So let's get stuck into this video. I will just show you a quick preview of a track that we have built so far. So the beats come together really nicely and there's so much variation in there, so many elements that we can manipulate. The arrangement process should be really straightforward. And by the nature of these styles of tracks, the arrangement is a lot more simple compared to the minimal tech stuff that we typically make inside Serotonin Studio. And that's because you want longer periods of this groove playing out without any interruption. You want to hold and maintain that energy instead of doing the quick dropouts and fills that we typically do in the minimal tech stuff. So let's get stuck into the arrangement process. So the first thing I'm going to do is map out my arrangement. So just my overall structure of the track. And how I'm going to do this is by looking at the obvious elements first and which of those are going to be playing from beginning to end, call it 90% of the time. So an easy one to identify is the kick. This is going to be playing from beginning to the very end of a track. And I'm going to aim for my track to be 5 minutes 30 for the moment. We can always get it out to 6 minutes if we want to. From there, I'm going to go down to my textures because I know I want them playing from beginning to the very end of my track. Then I'm going to go down to the bass. So I feel like for this track, I want a very quick, quite a energetic feeling arrangement. So with that in mind, I'm probably going to bring in this bass fairly early on. Maybe bar 16 is what I'm thinking. And then I'm going to duplicate this and mirror this on the outro. This allows me then to put in 2 markers as well. I can put one for my outro and one for my intro. Anywhere from 16 bars to 32, I think is the right length in time for an intro or outro. The way you can think about what length to choose within that period is how many elements you're going to have that will clash with another track when DJing. For example, this track, we know the only element that really will clash is potentially this bass line. And even then, it's not that harmonic, so it's not going to get in the way of another track when someone's mixing in and out. They're more than likely just going to loop the percussive groove and then slowly bring out the fader. So it just means I can have a shorter intro and outro, make things a bit quicker. So going down from there, what else am I going to get in straight away? Well, I'm thinking some of the percussion is going to be a good idea. So we can maybe choose either all of it or some of it. I think maybe all of these. Or maybe just take that one out for 8 and have it something like this. Sorry to cut off the video, but I just wanted to let you know this video is cut directly from our latest Track From Scratch series inside Serotonin Studio. And in this series, I show you how to make a percussive tech house banger from beginning to end. And trust me, we've got loads of other different tutorials, videos, and series inside Serotonin Studio. And you can try it now for free in the link down below. We want to make sure the track's nice and full from the get-go. The stabs, which sound like this, I'm actually going to copy these across the entire arrangement just as they are. And the reason why I'm doing this is it's much easier to delete stuff from your arrangement than it is to add. So let's just run through 2 different scenarios here. Let's say I'm arranging this part of the track, this section here, let's say, and a question pops into my mind and I go, oh, I wonder what it would sound like with that stab. Well, that means I've got to go and find that stab over here. I've got to go Command C, Command V, then listen to it and go, okay, yeah, that does sound good. Or potentially go, no, I don't want it there. Where if it's just there originally, as it is, because you've copied it throughout the entire arrangement, it removes that decision fatigue. You just listen to it and go, no, I don't want it, or yes, I do. Also, it opens up to what I like to call happy accidents as well. Maybe you would never thought about putting that sound effect inside the middle of a breakdown, but for some reason, it just works. And that's kind of the beauty of mapping out your arrangement like this. So going down from there, we also have all of these drum fills that you can see. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to consolidate all of this so it's in a nice block. And I'm going to take the exact same approach. I'm going to duplicate it all the way across. So now we can move on to other sections. So we've got all of these little breaths and ad-libs down here. So I'm just going to consolidate this. And little elements like those, I'm just going to do the same method. I'm going to duplicate throughout the entire arrangement. We've got our main hook, which I'm going to delay and bring in on the 17 bar and then just copy it throughout like so. And this one here, this vocal ad-lib, I'm going to copy across every 16 bars like so. Like I said, it's not permanent. It probably won't stay like that. I'll probably end up deleting it, but it's just nice to have it there mapped out. We've also then got our main vocal. So now we can start thinking about, okay, where are our breakdowns going to go? Because these vocals are going to go in the main section of our breaks. One thing for certain is we know we're going to want a main breakdown roughly in the middle of the track. So I can move this one around and we can figure out where this is going to go. So we could have it on 3 minutes, which would take us up to 4 minutes. And we have about another minute and then a 30-second outro. That would work quite nicely. Sits pretty much in the middle of a track. We could bring it back a little bit if we wanted to. And we could go 81. And then you could even have a longer breakdown if you wanted to. You could take a break out to 48 bars if you wanted to. It'd be pretty intense. So why not? Let's do it. I don't typically make breakdowns that long. So let's make it a bit of a challenge for ourselves. We know where our outro is, and I'd probably just put another little marker in there to help me know I'm going to have a break going into my outro. And then another breakdown somewhere would be good for 16 bars. So maybe 33 to 49, that would look about right. Then that would give us 32 bars of the track playing. House music nowadays is quite formulaic, so you can get away with just analyzing the numbers like this. So if we put a break marker in there, drop there, and then we've got all of our main sections pretty much arranged out, which is great. And then what I like to do is just go up and remove the kicks when I have a breakdown. Only reason for this is just for a visual reference. When I zoom out in a second, you can get a clear idea of exactly what's going on in my track. Perfect. So that's our breaks and drops all mapped out. We want this vocal in this breakdown as well. So I'm just going to nick that and copy and paste it there. We'll figure out how to use that later on. Something I want to stress is just the importance of not getting too bogged down in this part of the arrangement process, just flowing through it, getting things in place, and just having that kind of messy, organized workflow. I personally used to really stress about when elements come in and out, and bogged me down to the point where I would never finish tracks. And I know that's a lot the case for a lot of you guys as well. So just by doing this and getting it done as quickly as possible, you'll notice a difference straight away. Then we've got our automation layer. This one's silent pretty much throughout the entire track, other than when we decide to automate it. So I'm just going to copy this throughout the entire track, and it can just sit underneath the whole beat. We then got all of our different bass hits that come in. So I think these ones are going to be nicer to be delayed by quite a bit. So maybe let's bring all of them in over on this section and then bring them back in over there. Maybe that one where it just is, that could be a happy accident. This one over here, why not move it over there? Let's hope that causes a happy accident as well. Cool. So that's looking much better, much more organized. And we've got all of our effects in some sort of place, all of our vocal ad-libs, all of our stabs, our main vocal. The last thing is just for drums. So let's look for the obvious ones first, which will be nice and easy to map out in our arrangement. So we've got this 909 ride up the top. We know this is just an element to come in, help pick up the energy and add a bit of variation. So I'm going to bring that in on these sections here. Makes nice logical sense. And then for the rest of it, what I like to do is actually turn the elements off, then listen to the intro and just map it out in a more chronological way. So I know I want this snare in from the beginning all the way to the end because it's just a really important part of a track. Closed hi-hats. So maybe we could delay these more groove hi-hats in this group here. That can come in sort of after our intro. Maybe they can come in just when the groove is playing, like so. Maybe that one can come in on the 8-bar. So this one runs throughout the entire track. And then this one comes in on the 8-bar. If you notice what I'm doing, I'm just mirroring it on the outro. Doesn't mean it's going to stay like that. It's just a nice, easy way for me to map things out in these early stages. Then we can go down to the open hi-hats. So we know a lot of these are going to be delayed in the track. They're not going to be coming in from the intro. Maybe one will come in when the bass comes in. Should be that one there. And then we've got this more high pitch one, which could come in, let's say, maybe after this drop here. That would make nice logical sense with the arrangement. Then we've got the top loops. So again, I'm going to go through these, turn them off, and then just turn each one on and figure out where I want to put them. So I think that's one of our main top loops. It's one of the first ones we put in when we built this groove. So with that in mind, I'm going to copy that across the entire arrangement. See what this one is. So that one really helps pick up the energy. So I'm thinking get that one in on the intro as well. Get it really nice and full from the beginning. Keeps and holds that energy really nicely in the track. So that one brings in new open hi-hat layer. So let's bring this one in a little bit later, maybe on the 41. Or what's this one? Let's try this. Maybe bring that one in on the 41 and then delay that other one slightly more. That's sounding nice and full. And then we've just got our drum percussion now. So what we can do here is we can separate the ones that we want to be throughout the entire track, carrying that core groove, and the ones that are just going to come in for variation. So I know straight away this clave at the top is going to be coming in for variation. And I think just bring this in maybe later on. Maybe even it could come in here, and then it could come in over here, and it could come there. And then maybe it comes in on the drop on this one, and then comes out. You can see I'm really not overthinking this too much. I'm just trying to get into that nice little flow. So let's see what all of those elements sound. I think all of these bongos need to be in. They carry such a sort of fundamental part of the rhythm. They just need to be playing. And the shaker, maybe we get this in from the 8, because again, I like what it's doing to the groove. We can actually map out our low cuts. So we know we're going to want a low cut at any point. We've got a break. Any point in between these larger sections, we're probably going to want a little low cut. Something like that, I would have thought. And just like that, we actually have mapped out our entire arrangement. So now when I zoom out, I can clearly see my intro, my first break, my first bit of the groove playing as a whole, then a really big breakdown, and another section there. And the last piece of the puzzle of mapping out the arrangement like this is just finding some sound effects. So the go-to pack that I use for this is these Pulsarel effects. Really good. As you can see, there's 872 effects. And they're just all the standard ones. White noise rises, crashes, sub drops, impact noises. And as we have our whole arrangement mapped out, we now know where some of these fundamental sound effects are going to go. So I will just show you quickly. I don't want to waste too much time, finding every single effect and you seeing that, because that's very boring. But just so you get the principle of the workflow, I know an impact noise is going to go at the beginning of a breakdown. Same with this one here. So maybe I could do 2. We've got that, which is like a nice transition effect. So that could go at the beginning of some of these breaks. So nice little crash, for example, that I'm just going to use like in between sections. Huge white noise riser, that can go at those points. That's a really nice effect, which I'm going to use just in the breakdowns. And do I know where this is going to go in the breakdown yet? Nope, but I'm just going to copy and paste it there. So it's there as a prompt for when I actually arrange this whole section, do my automation, make sure it has nice smooth transition. And then it will prompt me to go, there's that cool sound effect I wanted to use. And I can figure out how to do it in that specific moment. So that hopefully gives you an idea of the principle of just going through, finding a bunch of sound effects. In my personal take, I think it's much better to find way too many sound effects and overcrowd it, then delete, than doing the opposite. That's just my personal hot take. It's not for everyone, but see how you get on with it. Map out your arrangement like this within your own percussive tech house track. And I'll catch you in the next episode when we start adding the detail to our arrangement and working on the flow of a track. There you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, then make sure to subscribe and like, and let me know in the comments what you want to see on this channel. This is a video directly from our latest Track from Scratch series, which is inside Serotonin Studio, which you can now go and join for free in the link below.